The shadows of the Himalayas, the wildlife, the spiritual journey, and the spice trading backwaters, we're travelling to Nepal and India. Arriving into Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, it's much bigger and sprawling than I expected. We visit the Durbar Square, meaning place of palaces, and can immediately see the destruction caused by the massive earthquake in 2015. There's a lot of restoration work still going on, and it's lucky that so many of the temples have remained upright. Next, we visit Swayambhunath, also known as the Monkey Temple for obvious reasons. On to another Durbar Square in the Lalitpur district of Kathmandu. This one houses a museum of archaeological artefacts, including a large scroll of the body's chakras or energy centres. The next day, we visit another area called Bhaktapur, and it's clear to see that people are still rebuilding their lives and houses 2 years on from the earthquake. We reach another Durbar Square, again with much reconstruction work still going on. Luckily, this 5-storey temple, called Nyatapola, was undamaged in 2015 and provides a great view of the square. We stroll back through the shopping area, with time to stop at a place that makes and demonstrates prayer bowls.
It's beautiful.
Our last stop today is Buddhanath, one of the largest stupas in Nepal, and one of the holiest Buddhist sites, especially with Tibetan pilgrims who come here to pray, chant, and perform full body prostrations in the inner enclosure. Kathmandu, we're flying south with a distant view of the Himalayas behind us, before arriving at Chitwan National Park near the Indian border. We meet the elephants who will be our safari guides tomorrow, get to feed them, and learn an interesting fact that they're only twice as tall as the circumference of their foot. We finish the day with an ox cart ride through the nearby village. Up bright and early the next day, we board our elephant on a misty morning and head into the forest. Only 5 minutes later, we spot a one-horned rhino and try to get a better view in the clearing. As we get into the swing of being an elephant in the forest, we encounter another rhino. But is that another smaller animal in the bushes behind? It is. A baby rhino, and no more than 2 weeks old according to our guide. By 11 o'clock in the morning, the mist has burned off and the elephants are being taken for their daily bath in the Rapti River. The mahouts let us climb aboard, but I think it's just an excuse for them to instruct the elephants to soak us for their amusement. We head back to the lodge for a light lunch before taking to the river for a relaxing ride. A short walk through the forest takes us to a conservation centre where they breed and look after gharials, fish-eating crocodiles who face extinction with only 200 or 300 left in the wild. Our final activity in Chitwan is a jeep safari where we search for the elusive Bengal tiger. As is often the case with safaris, there are only a few animals around today, although we do find a rhino munching grass in the late afternoon. Well, we didn't see a tiger, but the claw marks on the tree show that he is hunting nearby. A bumpy and uncomfortable 8-hour drive takes us to Pokhara, where we stay at the Fishtail Lodge. The only way to reach the hotel is by rope ferry across the lake, and we're soon relaxing with scenic views of the lake and the Annapurna mountain range beyond. After a good night's sleep, we're up early to see the Annapurnas. As the sun rises, the snow-capped peaks come to life with a warm golden glow. Back down in Pokhara, we see daily life, Hindu prayers and leisure activities before visiting a recently discovered cave system. Down an ornate spiral staircase and into the cave corridors, we arrive at a chasm where we can see a waterfall plunge to earth. Across the road we see the top of the Seine Falls, before finishing our stay here with a boat ride on the lake. Powered motors aren't allowed here, which preserves the peace and quiet of the area. Arriving at a temple island, we spend a few minutes stretching our legs before the return journey takes us directly to our hotel door. We're trying to cram in as much as possible into our single day in Delhi, starting with the Friday Mosque, one of the largest in India. As we leave, we see the Red Fort in the distance before climbing aboard a cyclo-rickshaw outside. We do a circular route through the narrow streets of Chandni Chowk, one of the oldest and busiest markets in Old Delhi. In the centre of Delhi are the Parliament buildings, designed by the renowned English architect Edwin Lutyens. This is the house where Mahatma Gandhi spent the last few months of his life. From the Spartan bedroom, looking out through the door are stone footsteps leading to the back garden. This is a sad memorial commemorating Gandhi's last walk to a prayer meeting where he was assassinated in 1948. Humayun's tomb, built in 1560, is the first example of Mughal tomb complexes, with its large palace and symmetrical gardens and gates. It's often regarded as the prototype for the Taj Mahal. Our final destination is the Qutb Minar, an impressive 73-metre tall tower with magnificent alternating round and square columns. Everything in Varanasi centres around the river Ganges, considered the holiest of places to Hindus and a major pilgrimage destination. We arrive by boat, passing by the many ghats, embankments of stone steps where pilgrims perform their ritual ablutions and even cremate their dead relatives. Arriving at our hotel, the Brijrama Palace, we admire the architecture of this 200-year-old building and get a classical Indian music and dance performance. Every evening there's a ritual worship of fire on the banks of the river. We join the other boats for a view of the priests performing this daily ceremony. the hotel, it looks almost gothic in the night fog. Up early the next morning, the pilgrims are already up and about, praying, meditating and washing in the holy river. Walking back along the Ghats, we stroll through food markets, passing shrines, temples and many spiritual activities. A little way outside the city is this unassuming temple with what looks to be a damaged floor. However, closer inspection reveals this to be a topological map of the Indian subcontinent, with everything measured to perfect precision. There's even a basement viewing portal so that you can get a sea-level view of India. Another holy location, Sarnath, is considered to be the place where the Buddha held his first teachings after attaining enlightenment. It is therefore a very special pilgrimage site for Buddhists from around the world. Arriving in Agra, we head right away to its most famous attraction, the Taj Mahal. At the entrance gate, everybody clamours for their first sight of this immense marble mausoleum. Built in the 17th century by the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, it houses the tomb of his favourite wife. Back at sunrise, we experience a different atmosphere at the Taj Mahal. As the sun hits the side, the inlaid mother of pearl glitters like star constellations. We move on to visit another tomb, considered the blueprint for the Taj Mahal, and hence known locally as the Baby Taj. We cover our shoes so that we can go inside for a look around. Driving on past a wedding party, we arrive at the Red Fort, which has many twisting entrance gates to prevent invaders. Every time we think we've seen the whole fort, we pass through a door and a new courtyard opens up. It's a huge area. We look out on a parapet to see the Taj Mahal in the distance, but can't quite make it out in the smog. Driving the new highway from Agra to Jaipur, we stop off at Fatehpur Sikri. This ghost city was the capital of the Mughal Empire for a brief time in the 16th century. Continuing on to Jaipur, we arrive at our hotel in the late afternoon.
Morning.
Good morning. I was just having a cup of tea in the morning. It's a special brewing pot. We have here the perfect tea timer. 3 minutes for a light brew, 4 minutes for a medium brew, 5 minutes for a strong brew.
Guess what I'm going for?
Strong?
Yeah, probably.
At the Amber Fort, you can walk up the hill to this defensive stronghold, but most tourists take the opportunity of an elephant ride up the cobbled path. At the top, we can see the fortified walls on the surrounding hills and the lake garden below. Like the Red Fort in Agra, every doorway reveals a new and different courtyard. Coming back down the hill, we pass by a stepwell. These incredible structures were provided for travellers on the Silk Route so that they could all drink from the reservoir at the same time. The next morning, we drive past the Palace of Winds. This structure is a facade which allowed royal ladies to observe life outside but remain hidden behind the lattice windows. At the Royal Observatory, what looks to be stone sculptures are actually precision astronomical instruments designed to measure times, dates and astrological signs. There are 19 different instruments, including the world's largest sundial. Across the road is the Royal Palace, which houses various museums as well as an arts centre where they demonstrate their skills. We're finishing off our trip to India with a relaxing few days in the far south of Kerala. On our first evening, we take a tuk-tuk to a nearby village where they're having a church festival. After the drummers strike up, there's a parade of ladies in colourful dresses and parasols. Then the church front lights up in a magnificent animated display to accompany the music and parade. We're treating ourselves to a houseboat cruise in the Keralan backwaters. As we push off through the reeds, past the cantilever Chinese fishing nets, we admire the construction of these boats. Made with wood, bamboo and palm leaves tied together with coconut rope, there isn't a single nail used in its construction. There's nothing for us to do but enjoy the view and eat the fresh food they keep serving us. As the channels narrow, some children help pull us to the side to let bigger boats go by. We moor up for the night beside other boats doing the same route. In the morning, they let us have a go at driving the boat as we complete the circular route home.